Hey guys, and welcome to The Bite. My name's Jackie, and today we are focusing on the holidays, and we are making some sweet goodness today. And we are making a dessert called Knafeh. Knafeh is a sweet cheese-based dessert, and it is a staple in Middle Eastern culture. It is my favorite dessert growing up, and ask any other Middle Eastern, I'm pretty sure they're gonna say this is their favorite dessert too. Really, it's the mother of all things sweet and delicious. So without further ado, let's get into the ingredients. I have here some sweet cheese and some mozzarella cheese. This one here is the sweet cheese. You can really find this at most Middle Eastern grocery stores, or any really ethnic grocery store, I believe, for that matter, and you can probably find it online as well. The mozzarella cheese, make sure it's fresh mozzarella cheese. That way there's little to no sodium in there, and it won't affect the flavor of your dish. I have here some shredded filo dough, and this again you can find at most Middle Eastern grocery stores. I have almost 2 sticks of butter, about 2 and more than 3/4. I have a cup of sugar, and this is going to be for the simple syrup that goes on top of the dessert. This is food coloring. This is like specifically for Knafeh. It does not impart any flavor to the dish at all. So if you don't have this or you can't get your hands on it, don't worry, it won't affect the flavor. I have a little bit of lemon that's going to go into the simple syrup just to stop any crystallization from forming on the syrup. And then this pan is what you're going to need to put everything in. I have my oven preheated to 350, so let's get started. So I have my butter melted. You can do this on a stovetop or in the microwave. And I am going to take a little bit of this Knafeh food coloring. And what is this? About a teaspoon of it. And just sprinkle it into the butter. Some people like to take the food coloring and put it directly over the shredded filo dough. The reason I do it this way is to avoid it from looking kind of splotchy. This way it gives everything a nice even color. And you can see my butter is not completely melted, but it'll get melted in there. And it's now a nice red-orange color. And you can, like I said, it doesn't add any flavor, so you can adjust it to the color of your liking. Now, to the sugar that I have in my saucepan, this is 1 cup of sugar, I'm going to add a little bit of water to create our simple syrup. Okay, I've got my simple syrup on the stove, and that's gonna take a little bit, so while I'm getting the Knafeh ready, that's gonna do its thing and get nice and thick. So now I'm gonna take this box of the shredded filo dough. So I wanted to leave it in the box so you can see how it comes and how to treat it. So it comes like this, and I like to take it directly into a bowl so that there's no mess forming anywhere. And then with your hands or a pair of kitchen scissors, you just take it and start cutting to make little pieces of dough. And you can, it can open as well, but you can kind of start it with your hands first. And if you have any jewelry, I would recommend taking your jewelry off, because especially when you put the butter in here, you don't want it to ruin anything. So I'm just gonna start working it with my hands, take it apart, and then with the scissors, just start shredding it. So I'm gonna do this and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, so this is pretty much good. I've got my shredded filo dough in nice little tiny pieces, and that's exactly what you want. The great thing about this dish is that it's very rustic. It does not need to be perfect by any means. It's easy to put together, and it's like a one-pan meal. It really is. So from here, actually before I get this dish, I'm gonna pour my melted butter into the filo dough, and you're gonna see it change color, so come closer, come closer. And so immediately as I pour it on there, you can see that orange color forming. And this is why I said take your jewelry off, because when you do this, this is something you definitely want to do with your hands. Your hands are the greatest tools that you can use in the kitchen. So you want to continue mixing this until everything is well incorporated and the butter and the coloring are fully involved in every bit of this. So one thing I want to show you as I'm breaking up all of these little pieces is you might find that some of them are sticking together like this. Make sure that you're breaking those apart. They can turn really dry in the oven and you want to just keep everything nice and loose like the rest of these. So this is what you want it to look like when it's complete. And at the end of all of this, you're going to end up with Cheeto fingers, what I like to call them. So go straight to the sink and wash your fingers and we will get on to the next step. So now we want the cheese to be nice and crumbled. So this sweet cheese and everything does not come sliced up. It's like one brick. So I want to help the food processor out and kind of cut it into just little pieces like this. And at the same time, you want to keep an eye on your simple syrup. Mine is over here bubbling. It's looking nice. Right. And this is something that you can definitely keep in the freezer, the sweet cheese, until you're ready to use it. Just take it out the night before or even the morning of, and you should be good. And I like to do this, crumbling the cheese in the food processor, so that I can make a nice even coating of it in the middle layer of our Knafeh. The mozzarella cheese with the sweet cheese just gives it a really nice stringy texture so that when you take a fork to it, you can see the oozing of the cheese. That's my favorite part. It's all about the eyes. It's all about the eyes. And we're just gonna grind this really quickly on high, or let's pulse it. And voila, the cheese is ready. And then we can start on the assembly. So for the assembly portion, this is all you need right here. I'm telling you, this is such a simple and delicious dessert. So I don't really grease the pan because the bottom layer is going to be a little bit of this Knafeh and we have a good amount of butter in here already. I actually ended up adding a bit more, so it ended up being about 2 full sticks. So you want this layer to be fairly thin, and I want the most of the filo dough shreds to be on the top so it can get cooked and get nice and crispy. So we're making a nice thin layer. You want to make sure every bit of it is covered. And again, using both hands to disperse everything, give it a nice even layer. And now we are going to take our cheese I'm going to take a little bit at a time and just start sprinkling it. If you make a little bit of a mess, it's all good. Easy cleanup, easy dessert. What more can you ask for, huh? Alrighty. Once I have a nice even coat, I can kind of pour the rest on. Okay, here is my nice even coating. And now the rest of the cheese can get poured on. So, whoa, left a nice little pile for me. All right. And that's what Knafeh, this type of Knafeh is all about the cheese. You'll find, oops, this one didn't get crumbled, that's all right. We can crumble it ourselves. You'll find some places make Knafeh with something called ushta, which is like a custard. And both are good, but I prefer the cheese because the texture just does something to me. And actually, my mom, when I was growing up, used to make this with ricotta cheese, if we couldn't get our hands on the sweet cheese. Okay, so this is an even coating of the cheese. Perfect. And we're just gonna top this bad boy off with the rest of the filo dough shreds. Again, making sure it's a nice even coating. And as you're doing this, you wanna pat it all down. This is perfect. I'm gonna wash my hands and stick this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, and you want the sides to get nice and golden brown. My Knafeh is ready. It was in there for about 30-ish minutes, and now the top is nice and crispy. The sides are golden brown. The cheese is gonna be melted, and I'm ready for a bite. So my simple syrup was also simmering back there. I had it on medium-low for a good, well, actually really the entire time the Knafeh was being prepared and cooking. And then I put about a tablespoon of lemon juice in there, again, just to stop any crystallization. And now it's just a nice thick syrup. So this, some people like to pour it directly over the Knafeh. I don't do that, only because if there's leftovers, I want the top to stay nice and crunchy. And people can serve the amount of simple syrup or atir that they like on their own piece. So I'm gonna cut myself up a little bit. Oh, you can hear that crunch. See? Oh my goodness. Like I said, I don't like to put the simple syrup on top. The only downfall to that is the simple syrup keeps everything intact. Without that, the little crunchy pieces on top kind of don't necessarily stick to the cheese as much as you'd like them to, but that's okay, because you can just sprinkle them on top yourself. I would rather have crunchy pieces than soggy. So that's just my take on it. But now, oh my gosh, yes. All right, let's bring my plate a little bit closer. That is exactly what you want to see. I can't even control myself. We're gonna pour a little bit on here. And now for the bite. Nice and cheesy. And this is what turns it into a dessert, is the simple syrup. Oh my gosh. A little bit hot, but perfect. I love it. You guys have to make this if you've never had it before. The holidays is the perfect time. Any time is the perfect time for Knafeh, let's be honest. So I'll just be here enjoying my Knafeh, and thank you guys so much for watching the bite while I take another bite.